Shalom, welcome to our Parsha share, Parshas Kitetse Tafshin Pei Daled. And it's the Parsha of Ben Sora Moira and Ishas Yafis Toya and a bunch of other kind of apparently dislocated, like non-related things that we'll see. One thing in particular, it's actually all very much related. So just as a quick side point, which really sets the stage for what we're talking about, is the pasuk says, "V'isa b'shivya eishis yafas toya for hashak he has a taiva for her, lakachta l'chala isha, he takes her for his wife." Okay, he takes the ishis yafas toya, the ishis yafas toya. She's a beautiful woman. He sees her in the battlefield, whatever, and he just can't hold himself back. So that's it. Okay, and now Rashi says, then after that you have the Parsha Ben Soira Moira. So Rashi connects it together. B'lachachta l'cha isha, you take for yourself a wife. Lo did b'Torah ela keneged Yetzer Hara. The Torah was talking to the Yetzer Hara. Shem eina kodesh baruch hu matera yisa'ena be'isa. If the Kodesh Baruch Hu wasn't matir, then the guy would have married her be'isa. But if he marries her, the end is that he's going to hate her. That it will be to the guy who hates her. And the Ben Soira Moira is the fruit of that relationship. Okay? The Ben Soira is the child that was born of the relationship with the guy with the Eishis Yafis Toya. Lekach nismacho parashas Halal, and that's the reason why these two parshas are connected. The Ben Soira Moira is the fruit, so to speak, of this relationship with Eishis Yafis Toya. So we know that there's two kinds of relationships, and then everything in the middle. There's what's called a back-to-back relationship and a front-to-front relationship. A back-to-back relationship is a transactional relationship, and a front-to-front relationship is a real relationship, is a true relationship. Now, the point of a back-to-back relationship, as we've said many, many times, for example, your relationship with the cab driver, is it's not about the cab driver. You couldn't care less about the cab driver. I mean, unless you're a very good guy, which you probably are. But basically, you don't care about the cab driver. You care about getting to so-and-so a place. So it means you want something from him. It's not about him. It's about something you can get from him. That's called a back-to-back relationship. And that means, in the Lashon of the Tanya, that is called a hate relationship. Even though, like, when a man marries a woman for her money, even though he might like the woman, it's called in Chassidus, in Tanya, that he hates her. Why? Because it's relative to the money. It's relative to the money. So he married her for the money, but she's quite nice. And he enjoys being with her, but he's really married to her for the money. Even so, that's called a hate relationship. So now, Eishis Yafas Toya is a man who married this woman for her looks. She's beautiful. So that's not a particularly face-to-face relationship. That's really like marrying someone for their money, or like getting in a cab, and that's your relationship with the cab driver. Imagine that. That's really how it is when you take it when you really take the svara to the end, that this guy he can't contain his taiva, and therefore he marries her, and she becomes hated to him. Why? Because that's the definition of hatred. When you are connected to someone for something you can get from them, then the person themselves is considered hated. And that's why it says that this man hates the Eishis Yafis Toya. And what happens in a relationship like that? What's the outcome of a relationship like that? And this is possibly the most important thing you could ever know in Shalom Bayis and in Chinuch Bonim, especially in Chinuch Bonim, is if your relationship with someone is a back-to-back relationship and you're not trying to turn it face to face, the relationship will grow apart. The other will become more otherly to you. They will rebel. They will rebel against the person who has their back turned to them, because we generally move forward. So when two people are back to back, they're in a transactional relationship, means it's something I can get from you. That relationship becomes more and more distant. And that's like a rebellion. It's called a rebellion. And that's the Ben Sota Moira, the rebellious child. He's the fruit of that relationship. The rebellion is the even obviously the wife will rebel, but the Torah is Magdish, emphasizes it by showing how one second, just turn my phone on silent, sorry. The Torah emphasizes by saying that the fruit of this relationship will be the Ben Sota Moira, a child who is rebelling. And that's how, when we treat our children with any ulterior motive, when our relationship with our children is not lishma, yeah, they have to be a big, big person to go against that natural tendency to rebel. And that can be very, very subtle. That doesn't mean that they're your trophy child. It doesn't mean that. It could be something very, very subtle. You know, like you're trying to improve your relationship with your child because the relationship with your mother was, or with your father was, something funny, and you want to make sure that it's not like that. If that's not done for a good purpose, if that's not done for the child's sake, and it's done for the sake of the rectification of your relationship with your parents, yeah, then that child is bechinas achar to you. That's an ach relationship, and that can be disastrous. So just that is the outcome of a back-to-back relationship. Yeah, Meh.
Are you suggesting that we could take a back-to-back relationship and make it a face-to-face relationship? Is that a
100.
possibility?
Absolutely. And in
Oh,
fact,
cool.
there's a Mishnah in Avos. While in Avos, the Mishnah says that it's an Ava Talui Bedava. That's what a back-to-back relationship is. Okay, an Ava that is dependent on something. So the Mishnah actually in Avos says, it's going to take us a little too far off, so it'll take a little while to say. It basically gives the example when it talks about an Ava Sha'ena Talui B'Dava, it talks about Yonasan and David. And an Ava that is Talui B'Dava, it talks about Amnon and Tamar. Now, Amnon and Tamar were basically half brother and sister. They should have had a real love for each other, a real genuine love, because they're brother and sister. But because Taiva got in the way, they were allowed to marry each other. Because Taiva got in the way, they actually maybe they weren't. I'm not sure. Because Taiva got in the way, it became a back-to-back relationship. And Yonasan and David should have been a back-to-back relationship because it was like a transactional thing. Yonasan was helping him, whatever, yeah. And that became a front-to-front relationship. So Meir, in answer to your question, it's a great question. Number one, a back-to-back relationship can become a face-to-face relationship. And number two, more scarily, a face-to-face relationship can become a back-to-back relationship. How do you turn the back-to-back relationship of you and the cab driver and fill that in with any transactional relationship? How do you turn the back-to-back relationship with you and your cab driver into a face-to-face relationship? One word, and it's what?
I didn't know if you were posing the question to me or if you were just setting yourself up. Sorry.
Go on.
No, you want me to answer the question?
You have an answer to that question?
I would say empathy.
Yeah, like if you could become your cab driver's psychologist, that would help. But much easier than that is give him a tip. But when you give a tip, this is the trick. Yeah, I learned this from someone from California many years ago, Pat Dishinger. Yeah, he paid me for my photography services, and I mean, it's my business, and he paid me the money, so it's just going to me anyway. And then after he'd given me all the money, he gave me a little extra, and he said, "And this is for you, Sean Laser." So he gave me the money that was due to me for the job. And then on top of that, he gave me a tip for a couple hundred shekel, whatever. And he said, it was the way he did it. He said to me, "And this is for you." that relationship went like this, ching, like that. Because he was in it for me. Why was he doing anything for me? He was paying for my services. That's not about me. That's about my services. But then he turned around and said, by the way, this tip is for you. So when you give a tip, it sounds really small, but it's a very important, it's really a big deal. When you give someone a tip, try your hardest to give it separately and say, and this is for you, with the word you, because that's for the person. Because before that, you were paying for the actual ride in the cab. Now you're giving something to the person. Now you're in a front-to-front relationship. And you watch how the relationship completely metamorphosizes like that. It's amazing. Okay, so this next thing I want to go through, I'm going to read it inside, okay? It's a bit, it's involved a little bit, but it's the Heilige words of the Or Chaim HaKodesh, so it's worth it, okay? And we're going to see how this is mamash the inyan that we're talking about. We're talking about the concept of face-to-face and back-to-back relationships. A face-to-face relationship means I'm in it for you, and a back-to-back relationship means I'm in it for something I can get from you. And a back-to-back relationship causes rebellion and distance and separation. A face-to-face relationship causes more and more closeness. If you're in a face-to-face relationship, the relationship gets closer and closer and closer. And if a person's in a back-to-back relationship, a transactional relationship, it gets more and more and more distant. Okay, so listen to what the Or Chaim says. The way I understand it. Everybody remembers the really weird story in the Chumash, this parsha, about the man who marries a woman. He hates her. He makes a wanton accusation against her. He puts a motzi shemra out of her. He said, I married this woman and I didn't find the signs of virginity. And then the father gets all angry and he says no. And the father and the mother, they come to the elders of the city and they spread out the sheet and they say, look, here's the proof that she was a pasula. And then it says you made this it goes on, and then the elders take this man and they punish him and they fine him 100 shekels, and then the woman has to stay married, or no, the woman chooses to stay married to the guy forever. Yeah, he's not allowed to divorce her. And then maybe if they didn't find the signs of basulim, and it's a crazy story, yeah, it's mamash crazy. Listen to how the Or Chaim treats the entire thing. It's amazing. He goes through the whole thing as a man's relationship with the Torah. Yeah, listen, it's mamash beautiful. If you have it Or Chaim, you can follow along. Okay.
Which pasuk is it?
It's Kaf Bays, Yud Gimel. Okay. It's a long Or Chaim, but we'll get to it. But I want to really draw out a small point, a big point at the end that will tie it together what we said about Ben Solomon, and then we'll also explain Rabbi Shimon's Kesher to Torah Shabbat Peh, Bezrat Hashem, and the inyan of Anticha Soichoi and Baitus and Tzadok. We'll see, Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Dibra Torah Keneged B'nai Adam. Gam b'nai ish, that's like from Tilim. It says that the Torah is speaking against the man when it says kikach ish isha, when a man will take a woman. Asher choizrim paneihem min a Torah. He turns his face from the Torah. This is the whole point. This is the whole Torah is on those words. He turns his face from the Torah. Yitzi, what would that mean according to what we've just been saying? A man who turns his face away from the Torah. What does that mean?
He's putting his back. He was front to front and changed it somehow.
Meaning that now he's involved in Torah for some kind of purpose. He's looking to get something from the Torah. And the Or Chaim at the end of it, and this is really the big takeaway, Alpi Avoida, that I wanted to get over, I'll say it right now, is that our relationship with the Torah should be a giving relationship. We are there to give to the Torah. We're not there to take from the Torah. The Torah is not there for us. We're there for the Torah. And he explains it. He gives the mashal, and the whole thing is that the Torah is called the color of Am Yisrael. Just like your wife is not there for you, you're there for her. The Torah, we're there for the Torah. And our experience with the Torah, learning with the Torah, is meant to be an experience of giving to the Torah. It's a very beautiful kind of freeing idea. So let's keep going. So this guy is talking about a guy who turns his face from the Torah, means he's looking to get something from the Torah. Yeah. He says, I haven't got time. I need to get some parnasa. And it's written that a man will take a woman. This is the Torah that is intro to us, meaning we are married to the Torah. Am Yisrael is married to the Torah. Yeah, Uvale, he comes on her. Yeah, he has relations with her. That already he's experienced the awe of Torah, the oineg of Torah when he was at Har Sinai. We're all married to the Torah, whether you like it or not, whether you experience it or not, and that's mushrash in our experience of Har Sinai. V'sneya, and he hates her. Perush, what does that mean? She'ein libam chofetz l'seisla oinasa kamishpat. He doesn't have a desire to give to her the what he is hired to give to her. Like we're hired to give to our wife food, clothes, and relations. Yeah, this man has decided that he doesn't want to give to the Torah. Other elama, because Shabbat moichiach l'daber elav lama timas eishes neurim. Why does she become hated to you? It's not giving me the parnasa. I want parnasa, and the Torah is not giving me the parnasa. I hate her. That's what he's saying. And listen to the little words. He doesn't see a simon brocha, but emtsos limudam, through the intermediary of learning. Meaning learning has now become an intermediary thing. Learning has become about me. It's a very grobby me about trying to get some kind of panasa, but it's become about me as opposed to about the Torah. Hagam kiyasok ba'ein niftochin lo shari panasa toiva, and he says, and the ones who are oved in and the ones who are oved in the Torah, the ones who learn the Torah, they don't get any, they don't get their panas. And he goes weiter. Va'adarabba roe ki kol ha'anashim shechakuha ve'einam choishrim ba kol ikar. And the guys who aren't involved in Torah Bechla, no kesher to Torah, you see their houses are full of Torah. They got so much good stuff. And he took out a shemra. This is the shemra that he said on the Torah. This woman that I took, Perish, he wasn't koif on the fact that he took her. I took her, she's my wife, but I didn't find in her basulim. Yeah, innocence. Perish. Loshan choizek. Ki oisker saviv yachanu. Lid poik al dalse achirim limsei teref. Because the people who are connected to Torah, they have to go around and collect money. They got their own money. So he's like all upset with the Torah. He's all upset with the Torah. My dear Kasev, ki kodesh baruch hu shehu nikla avianara. Now it comes out that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is called the father of the basula of the girl. Yeah, the Knesset Israel is the mother. Yeah, Yisrael boina shel Torah lifnei beis din agadol. They go, Hashem and Knesset Israel go to the beis din agadol, and they toveya. They claim against this guy who's making these claims against the Torah. Vu oimroi, and he says of him, v'lokach avi anara v'ima v'hoizias b'sulei anara. The father takes the basulei nara. Listen to this. He says, he's hinting to the fact that Hashem talks about the chozek. I don't really know how to translate that, but the gewaldicness of the Torah, the aliyah and the elevatedness, the sagas ramos and the tremendous sagas, yusku be'em susa that are received through it. He's basically, this is the sheet that he spreads out. V'yisrael boina be'beistin, and he tells the beistin of this disgrace that this man is speaking of the Torah. Ha'omim hashara, that's called the Shah. V'hu masha amru b'zoya ki asa d'kodesh baruch hu l'izboya boina shel Torah ka'amru b'mishnah oy lehem l'brioiza me'al boina shel Torah. And Hashem basically talks about how this guy's been mevaza the Torah. That's what it means. He spreads out the sheet and he shows the whole world, no, the Torah is mamash a basula. It's mamash innocent, it's chozek, and it's aliyah, and it's a sagas ramos. And he goes on. V'hinei tainus ha'oimed lisboya helboina kasuv lefenenu, and Hashem, the one who's making tainas, yeah, ka'omu v'om avi anarel hazakadim as biti nasati leisha zel isha. He says about the daughter that I gave to this guy, meaning the Torah that I've given to this man. Yeah, perish lo nasati anga b'keren zavis. I didn't give it to him to put in the side, to put to the side in a corner. Elis nahig ima, this is what he says now, what we said before. Ella, rather to be misnahig ima kaminhag isha. You are meant to relate to the Torah like you relate to your wife. If you're relating to your wife correctly. Leval yigru she'era kasuzva nasa. You should not deny her she'era kasuzva nasa, food, clothes, and relations. Kamoishim afarishim shloishes adavarim b'sefer Zoya. And the Zoya, it says these three things are: food is learning the Torah, clothing is tzitzis and tefillin, and time is Kriya Shema. Okay, we'll keep going. Shakulam tzrichen Torah. You need all those three things for Torah. The Yisneh, and he hated her. Kan rama sibas ha'achoka mimenu sheba ma'oisa b'china nikrosina. He hates her. Why? Because he's relating to her for a different reason. The fact that she's not giving him what she wants, that's now comes a palpable hate. Like the guy marries the woman for her money, yeah? So as we said, that's called hating her. But he might, like we said, he might actually quite like her. But what happens when the money goes away? Then you actually see the hate. Then it will come out. If he really married her for the money and the money goes, or if he marries her for her looks and her looks go, or he marries her for any other reason, and that's why it says, an avish is talu b'dava, when the thing goes away, then the av is misbatel, even if he quite liked her. And that's the picture now. This guy mamash hates her, hates the Torah because it's not giving to him what he wants from her. What's the time? We can keep going. You guys following? You with me? Isn't this beautiful? Okay. And that's the reason why he hates her, because he's not getting from her sorry, that's the reason for the distance. He's not getting from her the toike from the choizek, what he wanted from her, yeah? Some alilos, and there he makes this accusation against her. And it's dafka, it says that he makes the accusation, and the Or HaChaim does this a lot, where he learns from a word like a whole thing that doesn't like make sense, maybe unless you've learned the Or HaChaim a lot, and it does make sense. And it says that he hates her. He learned from that it's not true. He made it up himself. And he says that, and these are the signs of virginity of my daughter, says the father. So he says, and he lays out the sheet, and he's showing you this is how gavoldic the Torah is. That the entire world was created through the Torah. Bishvila niva, and for it, it was created. That's what the Torah is. The Torah that we learn, the Torah that we hold in our hands for Hagbah, the Torah that we look at, that is a gilui of the highest, the Olam HaMalbush I've been learning about this week. You know what the Olam HaMalbush is? The Olam HaMalbush is the interface between Ein Sof and Or Ein Sof. That's big. That's before the Arizal begins. The Arizal doesn't talk about Olam HaMalbush. He begins from for Or Ein Sof. This place Olam HaMalbush is. Rav Haas was telling me it's called the Hashem's talus, and it's where all the oisius are put together like a talus, not like a cloth. That's why it's called Olam HaMalbush, the world of the clothing, because it's not like how letters are usually in a line. Yeah, the Olam HaMalbush is all the oisius are there, kind of woven together, and every ois can be exchanged for every other ois. So it's funny, imagine that, yeah? You have a book and you could change every letter for any letter you like. You realize that in that book, you have every single book. That's the Olam HaMalbush. Everything is there. And that's the shorish of the Torah. That's where the Torah begins, and it's through the Olam HaMalbush that the whole world is created, and it's for the Olam HaMalbush that the whole Olam is created. So that was just a side point, but that's what the Or Chaim is talking about now. He's saying that the whole Torah was that's how Gavaldik is. Hashem says, I made the world with the Torah, and I made the world for the Torah. And you need me to prove to you that's the gullus of our generation right now. Is that the Torah for so many people is mar. It's so bitter for so many people. That is the biggest gilui of Gullus of Torah that there could be. And some people, some nut jobs, give over the idea that it should be mar. It should taka be mar. That's pasha crazy. V'harevna. We say make it sweet, and you got a lot of wackos telling you it should be takabi ma, it should hurt, it should be painful. That's what Torah is. Sometimes it has to be painful, but okay, but it shouldn't be. That's not what it's meant to be. Uvamis Kayim, and he has one more thing. He says the world was created with Torah, it was created for Torah, and it's niskayim, it exists through Torah still. And all of the goodness that's for Olam Haba, and don't think that Olam Haba is a place that you're going to go to. Olam Haba is right now. If you're Zoicher, if you've done the hard work and you're Zoicher, yeah, Olam Haba is here and now, and that's the point. All the Toiva Tzfuna. If you're Olam Hazer, then we need to get to Olam Haba. Yeah, but don't think that Olam Haba is someplace else. We need to get to an Olam Haba Dikamatzias. Yeah, but everything good is in the Torah. Everything. And this is what the mishpat of this guy who's not being good with the Torah is going to be. Yeah, Rishona Yisroi. The first thing is they're going to give him Yisurim. When a person is in this world for himself, he needs Yisurim to help him get out of that. And there's a danger, because with Yisurim, they can either help you get out of the selfishness, or Rahman al-Islam, they can end up forcing a person deeper into selflessness. And if a person has Yisurim and he falls deeper into selflessness, it was a lose-lose. Because the Rebbeinu Shalom was only giving us Yisurim to get us out of our selfishness. So he didn't want to give us Yisurim. It's just this is what has to take place. So he gave us Yisurim. So if we don't take the Yisurim and somehow try and elevate ourselves out of the Yisurim, and out of the selfishness into the selflessness, then we've just, not only do we make our lives more miserable, but we caused the Shem a lot of tsar, because it meant he had to be Messiah, his child, for no reason, which is the worst thing in the world. Im roya adam she yisurim by my love. If a man sees that yisurim come on him, yisle bittul Torah. He should. The Gemara says in Brochas that he should hang it on bittul Torah. Yeah, Perish, I'm not going to read. That it's lovely, but I think we've got more to get through, and I don't want to take your time. He says some other very lovely things as well. If you've got time to read it yourself, you should. But I'm going to skip because I want to get to the main point. Okay. But only Zizia Perish Gam She'ain Chiv Batalma Torah El Kvias Eatim. And even though they said there's only Kvias Eatim for Torah, like he's basically asking why, like the guy's learning Torah, why should you hang your Averas on Torah if there's no other things? He said, because you will always be learning more. That's what the Or Chaim says, the way I understand it. And he says you have to commit yourself. This guy now, his tikkun is to recommit himself to Torah, to mamash lima the Torah in a very, very deep way, to get to the point of trasai umanasai, meaning that his Torah and him are one. He's not in it for some kind of reason. He's not. What does the laser? What does the Balatanya say? The two he says it twice. Definition of lo lishma. Of lo lishma mamash. What's the definition of lo lishma mamash?
Definition of lo lishma mamish.
Twice.
Why are you asking me?
Because it's a big.
It wouldn't be lishma.
He says lios Talmud Chochem. That's the definition of lo lishma mamash. He's learning to be a Talmud Chochem. We're not learning to be Talmud Chochem.
That's Peshat, no?
That's. I mean, to us it is, not to everyone. The minute you're learning to be a Talmud Chochem, that's the El Boina Shel Torah. The Torah has become a means to your end. We're there to serve we're there to serve Torah, just like we're there to serve our wives. And you know what the crazy thing is it says that, what does Rashi say? Eza kenegdoi, yeah? Im zocha, Eza. Im lo zocha, kenegdo lecholem. You could translate zocha as zach, pure. Im zoch, if he's pure, meaning he's in it for her, it's about her, nothing about him, then Eza. She's gonna be for him, and he'll be able to express himself through her. Lo zocha, he's not zach, he's about him and he's with her. Yeah, Eza kenegdo lelachem. Why? She has to make milchama. That's Yisurim, because that will break you down from the loy zocha. That will break you down from the lack of purity. That will bring you into, that will get you back to zicha. Bezrat Hashem.
Right.
Now listen, this is the Moedik bit. This really is Moedik. V'oimroi, v'im emes haya hadava. Now what about if he's really involved in Torah? And he's struggling. There's no panasa, basically like that. Yeah, he's really in the Torah, and there's no panasa, because we know that if a man really gives himself to the Torah, it might be that he doesn't have a lot of money, but he'll never be complaining about panasa. Never. If a man's in Torah for l'shem Torah lishma, yeah, that I would imagine that he will have money. Yeah, but if he doesn't have money, it won't be a thing to him, and Hashem will provide him, yom yom. Yeah, he'll maybe be living day to day or week to week, month to month. But that if he's really in it for the Torah. So listen to what, again, I'm not saying this, Or Chaim saying. I mean, I'm translating it, but this is what I'm understanding that Or Chaim to say. V'oimroi v'im emes hayadava. What about if it was true? He didn't find signs of basula in the Nara. Im Perish. Im Eira ki Torah shalomad zeheisha ubochen ba she'ein la basulim. He put himself into the Torah. Yeah, he was involved in it, and he saw that it didn't give him anything. It wasn't giving him anything. Haisatos minas shalamdu tzaddik ubaitus. This is Torah of heretical. I don't like the word heretical. How do you say that? Everyone knows what minas is, yeah? Haisa Toras minus shalimdu tzaduk ubaitus. This is the Torah of tzaduk and baitus. The tzadukim and the baitusim. Who are the
The
tzadukim?
main Nakuda is it has no kiyum because it's not MS.
What?
It has no kiyum. It has no kiyum because it's not MS. These groups are nothing. They're gone.
Okay, but what was the whole inyan of tzaduk and baitus? So listen to this. This is unbelievable. I love this. And it's my mission because my English name is Anthony, yeah. So I realized that my kesher is through I'm a B'nai Shimon HaTzadik. I'm that's what a person who davens at the kever consistently is called. So I'm called B'nai Shimon HaTzadik. And who was the Talmud of Shimon HaTzadik? Antigonus, Anthony. That's my own little Josh. Antigonus Isaichoi Kibul Meshimon HaTzadik. He was Makabel from Shimon HaTzadik. Who hire Omer? What are you saying? This is the whole message that we're trying to bring to the world. Don't be like the Avadim who serve the Rav to receive reward. Be like the ones who serve not to be Makabel Pras. Yeah, meaning a face-to-face relationship. Now I'm not going to read it inside because we'll just explain it outside. What came from that Mishnah? If you look a few Mishnahs later, yeah, the Bartanora tells you that Antichas Isoichoi had two Talmidim called Baitus and Saduk. They heard him say, serve the Rav without any desire for reward, and they freaked out. They freaked out and they ran away. They couldn't deal with it. And they became Sadukim and Baitusim. So the whole problem that Baitus and Saduk had was Lishma. They couldn't fathom that. Like, what do you mean? Serve the Rav, loy al manas the kabul pras. What does that mean? What does that mean? They couldn't fathom it. So what did they do? They were koifa and Torah Shabbat Peh. That is the inyan of that Sadukim and Baitusim. Anybody who is koifa and Torah Shabbat Peh, the reason why he's koifa and Torah Shabbat Peh is because he can't go there to that place of Lishma. There's too much me for me to fathom this idea of selfless avodah. How can it be about someone else? And now Rabbi Shimon was the exact opposite. The whole story we said many times, the two words that are the entire Panemius, the encapsulate the entire Panemius of Torah. The story of Rabbi Shimon when he went to the cave, the whole thing, yeah, it began from two words, a hakpada on two words. L'tzorech atzmam. Everything they did was for themselves. Yeah, feh in the words of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Feh. Everything they did, the bridges, the bathhouses, the marketplaces. I'm not giving them any cover. They did it for themselves. So from those two words, the whole story of the entire Pneumius Torah began. That is the sheyesh of Kol Pneumius Torah, and Pneumius Torah is going back to the Pneumius Torah is Torah Shabbat Peh. Torah Shabbat Peh is not the Gemara. Torah Shabbat Peh is it can't be written down. It could be contained in the Gemara. The Gemara could help you if you have a Rebbe who gives you Torah Shabbat Peh. Torah Shabbat Peh is Baal Peh. It has to come from Rebbe to Talmud, from Rebbe to Talmud, from Rebbe to Talmud. That's how it goes. So the whole chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov was, you can say like this: I learned from Rav Manis. Rav Manis learned from Rav Yol. Rav Yol learned from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, from the Rayatz, from the Rashab, from the Maharash, from the Tzemach Tzedek, from the Mittler Rebbe, from the Alter Rebbe, from the Magen HaMezritch, from the Baal Shem Tov, from Achia Shaloni, from Moshe, Pir Gevura. that's it. We've got the Masorah. That's the whole Masorah, and that's why. What does it say? Rabbi Shimon's Keva. What's the words it says of Rabbi Shimon's Keva? You ever thought about this? It's so weird. Rabbi Shimon, his Keva. Look at this. I'll just share my screen with you guys. One moment. You see this here? Kiloi tishkach mepi zaroi. Yeah, you see that? You ever wondered what on earth that's about? It doesn't even say Rebbe Shimon. It's Yochai. It's Sofer Tavis Yochai, and it's not in order, and it's not Rebbe Shimon. It's his father. You ever wondered why? Like, that's a real doichek. I bet you could find lots of psukim that are like Shimon or Shimon Bar Yochai or whatever. Yeah, it's Sofer Tavis of his father, and it's Mevubal. It's not Lokasidron. Kiloi tishkach mepi zaroi. The whole inyan of Pnimis Torah, and this was the whole inyan of the Hisnagdus against Pnimis Torah, was it's against the Torah Baal Peh, which is against the Avodah Lishma. That's what the fight in this world is. The fight in this world is: are you going to be Oved Hashem Lishma or not? That's the whole thing, and that's exactly what that's basically what the Or Chaim said. That turns back to the Ben Soira and Moira, and if it isn't Lishma, it's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be horrible. It's so funny. It's so ironic, because the more you like get yourself out of the less choshev you become to yourself, the less of a man da'ama you become to yourself, the more gavoldic your life becomes. And again, you're not doing it for that reason, because then you've fell back into the Yetzer Hara. It's just the irony of the whole thing is the more you don't put yourself into the equation, meaning, which really means it's got nothing to do with my pleasure. It's not about me. It's about reality. Then the more everything just becomes fantastic, and that's really the Kanisa into Olam Haba, and that's why MS is Loshen Emes, I will die. It's the death of my sense of separation. That is MS, and that's why it's called Olam HaEmes. That we'll go to that world, Olam Haba, which is in this world, is the world that exists when you have stopped, when we have stopped seeing ourselves as something separate from everything else, as something unto ourselves. We are a heilige of reality, but you're a chalik, nothing more than that. And that's the key to, not only is that the key to reality, but that's the purpose of why we're here, to get to that reality. Again, definition of Russia, hayotzi esatzmo min haklal. So the definition of a tzaddik is hamachnis esatzmo b'soicha klal. Be'ezras Hashem yisbarach. Should be zoicha. Okay. Good Shabbos, Chevre.
Man, good Shabbos.
Amen. Good Shabbos. Thank you. Wow.